Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. Today we will be making a low-carb, gluten-free cauliflower keto pizza. In our house, pizza is a must. It is the one food I can make sure my entire family agrees on. Plus, it's a great bonding moment with my kids. Nowadays, it's really hard to make sure my kids are getting enough nutrition. So I try to add in as much vegetables as I possibly can. And pizza is a great time to add in vegetables. So to make our cauliflower pizza, first what you need to do is gather all of your ingredients, plus all of the tools that you will be needing to make your pizza. For the ingredients, we're going to go ahead and start off with cauliflower. You're going to want 1 egg. I use black pepper, basil, oregano, the pink salt, thyme, and then of course you use in your Parmesan cheese. I have mozzarella cheese, garlic, and I'm going to actually be making it with barbecue sauce because I can't actually handle the acid of tomato sauce. So I'm going to do barbecue sauce. I have this Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce. And chicken, which normally I use a rotisserie chicken, but today I'll be making this grilled chicken breast strips already pre-made and sold. So you can pick it up at any regular grocery store like Fry's or Sprouts, or even Albertsons. And then for my toppings, just to make sure that they're all vegetable based, I have some spinach, and I even have some mushrooms. Now, to cook it with, you're going to obviously want a bowl, a cheese grater, parchment paper, a cooking sheet, a cutting board, a measuring cup, which is 1/3 measuring cup. I have a 1/2 teaspoon and 1/4 teaspoon, a knife, and a spatula. I even have a frying pan. Now the reason I have a frying pan is because most people like to cook their cauliflower inside the microwave, and then they take a kitchen towel or a cheesecloth towel and they wring out all the juice, because you don't want the juice inside the cauliflower. It will make the crust real moist, it will fall apart, you won't even really be able to hold it. So you want to wring out as much juice as possible. I find that to be a messy process, so I don't cook it like that. I use a frying pan instead. I cook it over top the stove for a good 5 to about 8 minutes. And you cook it on low, medium, only because what you're trying to do is you're cooking the moisture out of it. You're not necessarily cooking the cauliflower. You don't want to cook it to where it's an actual brown color. You still want to make sure that it's this nice white color. So to get started, I have 2 cups of cauliflower already pre-grated. Now to grate it, that's where your grater comes in. You take your cauliflower head, and you're going to use this big side right here, just like what you do with your cheese, and you just kind of scrape back and forth like this on top of the grater. And you want enough for about 2 cups worth. After that, that's when you would stick this in the frying pan and cook it on top of the microwave, or the stovetop, sorry. Since I've already pre-cooked this, I'm just going to go ahead and add the rest in to make the cauliflower crust. So you want an egg, 1 egg. A lot of people like to cook their eggs separately and whisk it. I just add in all the ingredients at once. Makes it easier. So I have 1 egg. You want 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. And then inside this bowl, I have a 1/4 cup of the thyme, a 1/4 cup of the salt. I'm so sorry, that's not 1/4 cups. That's a lot. It's a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of the salt. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of the oregano, a 1/2 teaspoon of the basil, 1/4 teaspoon of the black pepper, and I have about 1/4 teaspoon of the garlic salt, or garlic powder. So you just stick that inside there. And then what you're going to want to do next is get a fork. Some people, like I said, use the whisk, but I like to use my fork. And you just stir it. And you stir it all together. Now, the good thing about this is because we're using cauliflower, it is the low carb. Cauliflower has a very low carbohydrate to it, which is also why it is used in keto diets. Because in keto diets, you don't really want a lot of the carbs. You want at least about 20 grams is preferably on a keto diet, even though they do say you can go up to about 50 grams of carbohydrates in the diet. And then now that it's all put together, it's going to look something like that. And put that to the side. And you're going to grab your parchment paper. So you grab your parchment paper, stick it down, and then you're going to put the your mixture onto your parchment paper. The good fun thing about this is that it doesn't actually have to be a circle. You can make this in any shape that you actually want. But what you are going to want to do is go ahead and flatten this out. Make it it's about as flat as possible, not as flat as possible, but at least thin in the center of the pizza, because you want the crust to actually cook all the way through. But you don't want the ends to actually burn. So what you're going to do is just kind of push the ends up. Make them a little bit thicker around the ends. That way, your ends don't actually become burnt while trying to cook it. But the center actually gets cooked enough so that it's not soggy. Before you were supposed to start cooking, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, you want to make sure that you cook or preheat your oven to about 400 degrees. And then you're going to cook the cauliflower crust for 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes, you're going to go ahead and take it out. It's nice and round. You've got the whole bubbled up. Whoops. It's all bubbled up right here so that this doesn't actually burn, yet it's still thin enough inside the middle. So the middle cooks all the way through and it's not soft. Looks pretty. So we're going to stick this inside here and go ahead and put it in for 20 minutes. After it's done cooking for 20 minutes, you're going to want to take it out and actually cool it down. And I have a pre-made one. So this is what it's going to actually look like after it's been made. It's this nice brown golden color. See how the edges aren't really burnt at all. It's still even throughout. The one thing that you do want to make sure is that when you do take the moisture out, you are able to actually pick it up off of the parchment paper. If there is moisture inside there, it usually ends up making it stick to the parchment paper so that you can't actually pick it up like that. Now we get to add on our toppings. Like I said earlier, I use the barbecue sauce, mostly because I can't handle the acid products. So I have the barbecue sauce stuck inside here, and you're going to just kind of put it on. You can make it even, spread it around. I don't really care about spreading it around, so I just kind of make it look almost like a cookie topping dressing. Have fun with it. I mean, it's your pizza. Everybody likes different things, so have fun. After you put on your toppings, then you're going to want to add the mozzarella cheese. You want to add at least about 1/3 cup of mozzarella cheese. You can just sprinkle it on, as so. And again, it doesn't have to be neat or look pretty or anything like that. Most of the cheese will actually melt together. So even if you don't put on that much cheese, or you don't have to put on a lot of cheese, because it will actually be a lot, it'll spread out once it melts. And then add on your toppings. You can add on some spinach, which is what I have here, and you just sprinkle a little bit on. You can sprinkle on some mushrooms. I didn't really measure this out because, again, you can add on as much as you want or as little as you want. The only thing that I suggest, though, is that you're going to keep it on the keto diet. You don't want to add on too much. Certain vegetables do actually have their own carbohydrates within them. So the more you add on, the higher the carb content is. For a keto pizza, you do want to stay anywhere from at least 15 to 25% of your actual diet to be carbs. Or I'm so sorry about that. 5% of your actual diet is carbs. But 15 to 25% of that you want to be protein. So you don't want to add on a whole bunch of protein either. Too much protein is no longer a keto pizza. For me, I like chicken. It's not too acidic-y, and it's very still healthy for you. So just add on as much chicken as you want, but then again, like I said, make sure you kind of limit it to stay within the keto diet. That looks fine. Perfect. And then add just a little bit of extra cheese on top just to kind of set it all in there. And you're going to want to stick this inside of the oven for another 8 minutes. Doesn't that look good? Ooh, yum. Okay. When your pizza is done, it should have a golden middle and all the cheese would be melted. I don't know if you can see that or not. Smells delicious. And like I was saying earlier, you can actually lift it up off the parchment paper. And it's as easy as that. Go ahead and cut it up. And take a bite. I hope you guys enjoy my pizza just as much as we do. Thank you very much for joining. As it falls apart. See you next time.